Hey guys, at this point you have probably done a lot of Chaos Manifestation runs and you come across all of these different items that you can equip or the neutral cards, and you are maybe wondering, hey, what are the items, what are the neutral cards that I'm actually aiming for? And this is what we're going to talk about in this video today. This is actually a very interesting topic to talk about. Because if you look at all the neutral cards that are available in this game, then you will see, or you will come to the realization later, that all of them are completely useless. This is not easy to realize at first though, because you will need a lot of experience in TCGs, in trading card games, to begin with, to see this immediately. There are cards where you could say, hey, they are actually good. How can a card like this quick shelling here, for example, not be worth to have at my disposal? It deals damage, it draws me a card, it applies agony, which is the poison in this game, and all of this completely for free. Free damage, free card draw, free poison. How can this not be good? In what world is this not be good? Or here another very good example is this one here. For again, this is guaranteed in your starting hand. This costs you 0 AP and it deals a whooping 200% damage to all enemies. Here in this case it applies agony again to all enemies, but this is an Epiphany upgrade that would even give me +1 AP. So how in the world are these cards useless and something that you should never put into your save data? To unravel and explain how these cards are trash, I want to tell you a little bit about TCGs. In general, how things work, what is like the best thing to do when it comes to deck building, what are the rules, and what are very common things to even see on the very highest level that even world champions are doing in trading card games. First of all, you have to understand that there's always, in every single TCG out there, there is a limit of cards that you are allowed to have in your deck. In most TCGs the number is 40. You come and you build a deck with 40 cards in it. That is the rule. You can go higher than 40, but you cannot go below 40. That is a rule. And there is a very good reason why this is actually a rule. Because going above 40 would be a huge mistake. Every single card that you put in your deck that exceeds the limit, let me say it like that, of 40 is a detriment to how good your deck is. It makes your deck way worse. And why can you see what is the reason that you are allowed to go above but not below, right? That is because if you would go below this threshold of 40 cards, you would drastically improve the quality of your deck. Why is that? Because the more cards you have in your deck, the less likely you are to draw the cards that are like what your deck is built around. The best cards of your deck, the peak of your deck, is less likely to be drawn by you the more cards you have in your deck. And it goes the other way around as well. The lesser amount of cards you have in your deck, the more likely you are to draw the peak of your deck, to draw the best cards in your deck, to draw the cards that your deck is built around, the cards that are your win condition, right? That's why it's so important to understand this rule set of you have to have 40 cards in your deck, and you are not allowed to go below, but you are allowed to go above, because by going above, you would force a disadvantage onto yourself for the reason that I just explained. Alright, so there is another rule besides the deck limit, which is extremely important. And that is that you are only allowed to have a certain amount of copies per card in your deck. In most TCGs it's 4. Of course, there are examples where it is known that cards are so overpowered that you are only allowed to have 1 copy of this card into your deck. Okay, that is also very, very important. And now, in TCGs, even on the very, very highest level, in tournaments where money is on the line and where the matches are played on camera, people are cheating left, right and center. It is even caught that there's proof out there, like en masse. World champions have been caught cheating after they became world champions. And that is for the very simple fact. I myself experienced this firsthand by going to tournaments back in the day. That very, very low amount of tournaments even check your deck in the first place. Even if your deck is checked, right? I've been going to a tournament and my deck was checked. They sorted it. They checked if I only play the correct amount of copies that I'm allowed to, and if my deck actually consists of 40 cards. And then they give my deck back to me. And that's the big problem, right? Because now, before the tournament actually starts, right, after my deck is checked, they have to check a lot of other decks, so time will pass. And I can now take my deck, go to the toilet and manipulate it. I can take 1 or 2 cards out. I can put 5 copies instead of 4 for like 2 or 3 cards. Boom, I have a huge advantage in actually progressing the tournament as far as winning prize money or even coming out completely victorious. And no one will ever be able to prove that I did this, even if I play on camera live to a whole bunch of audience, because as they will never see, I know as a player that the match will never go on as far as me cycling through my entire deck. And therefore, it is extremely unlikely that I will draw all 5 of the copies that I have for this card in my deck. The 5 copies, they will never be seen on camera. The camera will see like what? 1, 2, maybe 3 copies, but the likelihood of the camera seeing all 5 of those copies, or other players that are watching my match seeing 5 copies of this card is extremely unlikely, because I will never cycle deep enough through my deck, as the match will be over before I cycled through my deck enough. And that's why it is absolutely worth taking the risk of cheating, and that is what everyone is doing. If you don't do this yourself, then you will walk into this tournament with a huge detrimental disadvantage, and you are more likely to lose than you would be to win. I never did this myself, but I saw this countless times, right? And I even played against people that did this. I could not prove it. For example, if I know this guy plays with 39 cards in his deck instead of 40, let's say, right? If I would now call a judge, of course, the judge, I have to call him, that takes a while, and my opponent will witness that, and boom, he can just pull out a card out of his pocket and put it into his deck. Boom, now he has 40. Once the judge arrives, yeah, what am I talking about? I'm lying, right? I think you get the point across, like you understand the point, why it is so extremely important to not bloat your deck. And this is the exact reason why you never put these neutral cards in your deck, even if they seem quite good. It is because, again, let's take Karen as an example. You want to draw. You need to draw. into this Echo of Futility, because it creates the futility cards that you need. Same goes for Echoes of True Abyss. You need to draw into this card, as you need to exhaust these futility cards, and after you did that, you need to draw into Black Hole to make use of these exhausted futility cards and actually hit for an insane amount of damage, right? You need to find these futility cards to reduce the cost of your other key card, Brand of Annihilation, to 0, so you can play it for free, right? And you see how many cards, and yeah, you upgrade, that is like not even guaranteed in your starting hand in our example right here. So you see, right, the point is you need to draw into your win condition cards. The neutral cards are not your win condition. The win condition, the true juicers, are part of your character's kit, of your character's deck. And these cards are the ones that you want to and need to draw in order to be efficient. Neutral cards, no matter how good they seem, are just in the way and a bloat. And remember the example of the example of me telling you about this card limit, that you are only allowed to have like 4 copies of a card or even just 1 in your deck because it would be too OP otherwise. That is why in these Chaos Manifestation runs they give you the 2 options of either removing a card to remove your bloat. Every single character in this game has cards or a card that is bloat. In our example for Karen here, that would be Sphere. Karen does not want to draw into this Sphere card. Of course, you can upgrade it so that it gives you a card of utility, but still, Karen's job is not to heal. He doesn't want to draw into this. He doesn't want to draw into these elimination cards. What Karen wants to draw is, again, Echo of Futility, Echoes of True Abyss, Black Hole, and Brand of Annihilation. Those are the cards that he wants to draw. The other things are bloat. So in your Chaos Manifestation runs, you would remove the Sphere for him, for example. If you can remove another card, it would be an elimination. And the exact same thing, the exact same rule set here can be applied to every single character. With Haru, you want to draw, you need to draw into your anchor shot. You need to draw into the card that searches and recovers your anchor shot. You want to draw into the card that boosts your anchor shot further. You don't want to draw into a card that gives you a fucking shield. That is not what Haru is about. That is not her job. That job goes to your supporter, or aka your healer, right? So for Haru, you would want to remove this anchor drop from your deck, right? And yeah, I think I got the point across why you never take any neutral cards, but you make use of removal. And I mentioned that they also give you the option of copying cards. That is extremely OP. It breaks the rules, right, of you only being allowed to have this 1 copy of Echo of Utility in your hand. Now with this copy option in Chaos Manifestation, you can copy this Echo of Utility card to have it twice. You can have Black Hole 2 or 3 times in your deck, right? And this is how you become overpowered. You remove bloat, you copy win condition, and you do not pick these neutral cards to bloat your deck. Alright, now we can move on to the items. And you will very fast, hopefully, also realize that the same thing applies to the items in this game that would apply to the cards, kind of. Here, these items here, this equipment, it gives you at least some sort of value for no drawback. So those are better than the neutral cards, at least. But you will also realize, like if you look at all of these items, even the legendary ones here, extra attack damage plus 30%. Sure, that is not bad for like a character like Hugo, who does a lot of extra attacks, aka follow-up attacks, right? 30% more damage for each. This is like pretty much an item that is only good on Hugo and on no one else. That's why this item is bad, you know, that was the point that I'm trying to make. Same for this. On enemy defeat, you gain 60% shield. 60% shield is laughable. It doesn't do anything for you ever, right? Or this one right here. Heal 40% of the end of the turn. Not too shabby, but not good either. You will see that when you look at this in action, this 40% heal at the end of the turn, that's like what? 36 to 39 HP. It's nothing. It depends a little bit on how high your maximum HP is. The higher your maximum HP is, the more this will heal. But it is like between 30 and 50 heal at the end of the turn. Again, you don't need this ever, right? Yeah, I'm aware that these cards also increase the stats. It gives me plus 41 health. You know, that is just as pathetic as the heal that it gives me at the end of the turn. And you can go down the list. No matter at what item you will look at, it will always be bad. Here, 10% critical chance is already laughable. 10% critical chance is nothing. It equals to basically nothing. And then it gets worse, because this is only for cards with a cost of 0. Cards that cost 0, they don't deal any damage to begin with. So even if you would crit with these cards, it wouldn't matter much. The value here is dog shit, right? 45 attack, yeah, sure, that's why you might want to take this item if you have nothing else, you know what I mean? But it is not good by any means. And here again, 60% fixed shield, laughable. And it goes on and on and on. You will not find an item that is like truly really good. And this is now where I want to talk to you, and where we head into a little bit of interesting territory, because there are good items in this game. Let me show you what those cards are, where you can find them, and how to obtain them. The way to obtain these items is, yeah, locked behind a quite steep grind. You go to Chaos Manifestations and Chaos Manifestation, and here you see a bunch of different planets. If you click on one of those planets, you go to Reward Info, and here you will see that once you reach a certain level of exploration, you unlock yourself things like, yeah, these bonuses here, the fates, or new items and new cards. Right, here's another fate. Sometimes there are cards in this. And at like level 25 and 30, there are really good things here that everyone should always have this in their save data. In this example right here, for this planet, the first one, how is it called? The Blue Pot. For this example right here, you want to reach the exploration level 25, and once you reach that, you will get you can get your hands onto this item called Moon of Destruction. And here what this does is, at the start of the battle, 100% fixed damage to all enemies. That is a very, very good item. This is the 100% fixed damage is because this item is on star 1. The damage would increase the higher value you would gain with this item, right? And it would give you more health as well. This is like one of the best items in the entire game, and you always want this on your character and in your save data. It's a very, very valuable item. We can go further here. Dimensional Cube. When discarding a card, plus 10% damage for the turn. Every card that you discard, this turn gives you a damage boost by 10%. If you discard 2 cards, 20%. You discard 3 cards, 30%. For some characters, like for example, if you play a team with Nia and you got the correct epiphanies that allow you to discard a bunch of cards, which Nia has, you can boost your damage output with this item tremendously, more than like pretty much every other card in the game. And you can go here further. Every single planet has those good rewards unlocked at like level 25 and level 30. Here, create a random card out of the shop and then you change this card's cost to 0. That is not too valuable, right? But look at this one. At level 30, you gain access to what I would say is the #1 best item in the entire game. And this item right here is called Water Drops of the Goddess. And at the start of the battle, you gain a storage. A storage means that you are able to save up 1 AP to the next turn. If you would end your turn, but you would have 1 AP left, this 1 AP is stored and you can use it next turn. So you would have access to 4 AP instead of just 3. That is an incredible item, right? Again, this is something that you should always have in your save data. This is one of the best items in the game, so aim for it, right? Let's take a look at one more example here with this one. I think I have never looked at this one. Here, discard. If there is no attack cards in your hand, you just draw 2. See, again, if you play this in the correct deck, that is incredible. Remember what I just told you about the bloat, and you should never go for these neutral cards. This one does not count because it draws you 2, but you have to remember to play this in the correct team. If you play this in the wrong team, then it is bloat and useless, right? Keep that in mind. Or here, Psionic Combat Suit. When a card is exhausted, 30% fixed shield. You know what this means. You see how this is the best item in the entire game for Karin. You are all about exhausting these futility cards, and for every single futility card that you exhaust, you gain 30% fixed shield. Per turn, you will exhaust like 3 futility cards pretty much every time. That's 90% fixed shield right there, plus the 10 defense flat that this item gives you every single turn, just by exhausting cards. Again, crazy good gear right here. If you play Karin, this is a must-have for you. Absolutely. Needless to explain. Now, you might think when you look at these items, they are not complete game changers, but they are still like the best things you can possibly have. And therefore, those are the cards here. Those are the equipment. This is what you are looking for. And then, yeah, you go to these planets here, you check the last 2 rewards, and you see which of those items and which of these cards, you can take them into consideration a little bit as well, would fit the exact team that you play. Keep in mind that once you have reached exploration level 25 or 30 for the item that you want to get onto your save data, you will have to do an additional run, and you will have to seek out the tiles with the lung shop right here, the campfires where there's a building attached to them. You know what I'm talking about it, and you can see it here on your screen. And then this item will be available in this very shop. You can see it right here on the left. The Moon of Destruction is on sale here. So you can see on the top of your screen that in this run I put a lot of emphasis onto getting as many credits as possible. I have 714 here. That is because this Moon of Destruction, it doesn't always show up on like your first attempt, or it is not always on sale, so you will have to use the refreshes, and then this item costs 250 credits. So if you're on a hunt for an item like this, make sure to get enough credits to refresh and to be actually able to buy this item for 250 coins, or credits as they are called in this game, if the item would be about to show up. And there you go. That is all that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope this video was fun and informative. If you like Chaos Zero Nightmare content in general, please consider leaving a follow on my channel. I would really appreciate it. But until next time, don't forget to join the Discord server, link in the description down below. While you're there, I will link my twitch.tv channel there as well. Go and leave me a follow, because I stream this game already every single day for like 2 to 5 hours, because I will grind my exploration levels up right now on all of these planets. So I'm gonna stream this game moving forward a whole bunch. Come hang out with me, come to say hello, let's talk a little bit, right? Why not? And yeah, take care of yourselves, have a great day, peace and love.